Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, School of Agriculture, SOA. Certificate in Sericulture, CIS. BLPI 002 Host Plant Cultivation. Block-1 Mulberry Cultivation for South India. Unit-1 Establishment of Mulberry Garden, 1.0 Objectives. After reading this unit, you will be able to Z. Identify suitable soil and climate for mulberry cultivation. Z. Select suitable methods of preparation of land and plantation. Z. Recognize different mulberry varieties. Z. Explain different methods of propagation. And Z. Demonstrate the method of preparation of nursery. 1.1 Introduction. The purpose of this unit is to introduce you to the mulberry cultivation. Mulberry is cultivated for its leaf to feed silkworm. Fig. 1.1. Mulberry cultivation, silkworm rearing practices etc. Production of good quality. Mulberry leaf in large quantity ranks first for the successful production of cocoons. You may also know that about 60% of the total cost of the production of cocoons goes by way of cost of production of leaf. Thus, it is very important to know about the suitable cultivation practices for mulberry so that you can increase the production of leaf and decrease the cost of cultivation. This is very important as decreased cost of production of leaf can help in making silk cheaper. The initial establishment of mulberry garden is of utmost importance. It is similar to bringing up a child in his/her infancy. As you go along this unit, it will be clear to you how to establish a mulberry garden. You will know about soil and climate suited to mulberry plant, preparation of land, mulberry varieties, types of plantation, planting systems, preparation of nursery and method of propagation. The above aspects, once understood clearly, can help in establishing a mulberry garden and maintaining it in subsequent years most efficiently for the production of quality leaf. 1.2 Soil and Climate. In the previous section, you have learnt about the importance of mulberry leaf. Let us now know about the soil and climate, which suits mulberry. Mulberry is a deep-rooted perennial plant. Therefore, the soil on which mulberry garden is established should be able to supply air, water and nutrients to the plant even from deeper layers. So, it is very easy to understand that preferably soil of mulberry should be deep and fertile to support the proper growth of plant. Mulberry is a hardy plant, and accordingly it can be grown in a wide range of soils. Though mulberry can be grown in different soils, the clay loam to loam soils are much preferred. Also, for normal and luxuriant growth of the plant, soil having a pH ranging from 6.2 to 6.8. Slightly acidic is ideal. You may try to understand that pH gives the acidic and alkaline nature of the soil. However, if a soil is alkaline, more than 7.4 picohenries, or highly acidic, less than 6 picohenries, the soil can be reclaimed by the application of gypsum and lime, respectively. In Karnataka, soils are mostly red loamy which are poor in organic matter. You may also know that mulberry is grown on alluvial soils. It is important to learn about the land on which the plantation is to be established. For mulberry, the land should be either flat or slightly sloping. If the land is having a steep slope, it can be made into rows and terraces. After soil and land, now let us try to learn about the climates. Remember that earlier you have learned that mulberry leaf ranks first in its importance for the success of sericulture. The second most important factor for the success is climate. Climate can be temperate, subtropical and tropical. Let us know some important aspects of these three climates. Temperate. A temperate climate can have very changeable weather. One day, it may be raining, the next it may be sunny. This changeable weather occurs in summer as well as in winter. Subtropical. These areas have very warm to hot summers, but non-tropical winters. Tropical. Sun is hot all the year. By now, you have learnt about the climate and now let us try to know about the temperature, which suits mulberry plant. You may imagine how uneasy we feel in hot and cold climate. Mulberry also is affected by hot and cold temperatures. Temperature ranging from 20-30 degrees Celsius suits the growth of mulberry plant. However, temperature below 13 degrees Celsius and above 40 degrees Celsius affects the growth of the plant. Knowing more about the altitude can help in establishment of a better mulberry garden. So, let us know about the altitude. Altitude of a place refers to the height and climate of that particular place. Mulberry is known to grow between 200 meters to 1,200 meters altitude above mean sea level (MSL). However, an altitude of around 700 meters above mean sea level is suitable for good growth of mulberry. Mulberry requires a good amount of water for its growth. The optimum rainfall, 1000 to 1500 millimeters, of even distribution is known to help in suitable growth of the plant. It may not be difficult to understand that every plant requires water for its growth, which you may have observed in the agricultural fields in your town, village. So, mulberry also has the requirement of water. Let us try to imagine which other factor needs attention by a farmer. The other factor is sunshine. Mulberry prefers sunshine, and shade affects the growth of the plant. Sunshine ranging from 9 to 13 hours per day is suitable. Probably, you may be knowing that long hours of sunshine is available in South India, due to which mulberry cultivation can be profitable. Also, the advantage in cultivation of mulberry in South India is that it can be grown throughout the year. Thus, you now know that the mulberry can be grown in all three climatic zones. You must be aware that gathering information on various aspects as detailed above can be helpful in establishment of a better mulberry garden. Activity 1. Visit a mulberry garden, dig the plant and find out if it is a deep-rooted plant. Collect soil samples from various mulberry gardens and examine the type of soil. Look at the temperature chart of your place and find out the range of temperature in various seasons. Also, visit various mulberry gardens and note how mulberry is established in steep slopes. Plant 2 mulberry saplings at a distance. Irrigate one mulberry plant and leave the other without irrigation. Record the difference in growth. 1.3 Preparation of land. You must be knowing that preparation of land is the first step in planting a crop, so is with mulberry. Land can be prepared by thoroughly plowing the land with a tractor or power tiller, or with the help of bullock-drawn plow, or manually. The process of preparation of land includes removal of stones or boulders, if any, from the plantation area and leveling the land if the surface is uneven. Can you imagine that even land can facilitate uniform irrigation after the plantation? Let us recall Block 1, Unit 1, wherein it was clearly mentioned that mulberry is a deep-rooted plant, and it is simple to understand that deep plowing at 30 to 40 centimeters depth is essential, as it will help to loosen the soil and make soil powdery. This can help in eliminating the weeds as well. Put a question to yourself and find out how weeds can affect the growth of mulberry. Knowing that weeds hamper the growth of mulberry in the initial stage is important and accordingly has to be given attention. You may know that weeds can be controlled manually as well as by the application of weedicide. Can you imagine what the next step in the plantation of mulberry is? A basal dose of well-decomposed farmyard manure, FYM, is applied at the rate of 20 and 10 tons hectare per year in irrigated and rain-fed land, respectively. You may take precaution to apply well-decomposed farmyard manure. All the above activities can make you feel pleased that steps for preparation of land are completed and plantation can be taken up. Activity 2. Visit a mulberry garden and observe if weeds are removed while plowing. 1.4 Mulberry varieties. You know that mulberry has a number of popular varieties, which are suitable for different agroclimatic conditions. You have learnt about the climate suitable for mulberry, and by now, you are clear about the agroclimates where you intend to plant mulberry. Mulberry varieties vary in their production of leaf. So, it is clear that choice of mulberry varieties has an immense role in boosting the leaf production and improving the production of quality silk. What do you mean by a suitable variety? A suitable mulberry variety can be listed as the one which has following characters in addition to production of quality leaf. Should be a good rooter, early sprouter and fast growing. Should respond well to the application of manures and fertilizer. Should be tolerant to diseases and pests. Should be able to produce palatable leaf for silkworm rearing. Should be rich in nutrient contents. Table 1.1 Popular mulberry varieties of South India. Look at the screen. Table 1.1 shows the list of mulberry varieties suited to different climatic conditions. Also, it can be seen that developing high-yielding mulberry varieties have a significant Role to play in the success of mulberry cultivation. You can compare the very poor mulberry leaf yield during 1960s, approximately 15 mt per hectare per year under irrigated, and 3 mt per hectare per year under rain-fed conditions, with that of the present scenario with the high-yielding varieties capable of producing leaf yield ranging from 30 to 60 mt per year under irrigated and 10-15 mt per hectare per year under rain-fed conditions. Earlier, mulberry variety KANVA2 was predominantly used for establishing a mulberry garden. In South India, you can find out this by asking a mulberry grower which mulberry variety he had been growing earlier. He would tell you that he had been cultivating mulberry variety KANVA2, which yielded 3 to 35 mt of leaf per hectare per year under irrigated conditions. You will also learn from the farmers that this variety has been partially replaced by high-yielding varieties like S36 and later by Victory 1, V1, which has spread in over 33,000 hectares in South India. Variety V1 is also gaining popularity in other states of India. 1.5 types of plantation and planting systems. So far, you have not learnt about the types of mulberry plantation. In this chapter, we introduce you to how the plant can be shaped to get higher leaf yield for many years. Briefly, it can be said that desired shape of the plant is an important aspect of mulberry cultivation, as mulberry is a woody plant and produces number of branches. Therefore, it needs training to keep the plant in good shape. In fact, the training of the plant is done to suit the management practices. Classification of the types of plantation is based on the height at which the plant is pruned or cut. Moreover, once the plant is cut, a crown develops on the plant from where shoots, branches, develop. Fig. 1.6 shows the formation of a crown. Formation of the crown is an essential aspect in the establishment of a garden. It has a significant role to play for the shape of the plant and leaf yield. On the basis of the stump height from which the crown is developed, plantations can be classified as 1. Low cut, bush. Crown height 20 to 25 centimeters. 2. Medium cut, dwarf, crown height 60 to 70 centimeters. 3. High cut, tree, crown height 150 to 175 centimeters. You may have a look at Fig. 1.7, which shows the bush plantation, and similarly, Fig. 1.8 and Fig. 1.9 shows the dwarf and tree plantation, respectively. In low cut, mostly referred to as bush, one main stump is allowed to develop and 3 to 4 well-developed shoots per plant are allowed to grow and the remaining shoots are removed. For the development of proper crown, 3 to 4 shoots are allowed to develop from each main shoot. It takes a year for the development of good stump after plantation. For the proper development of plants, leaf is not harvested for 6 months after plantation. Similarly, you may note that medium and high cut mulberry is also trained similarly, except that the crown height is maintained as mentioned above. You may find it interesting to note that in South India, mostly bush type of plantation is being followed. Bush type of plantation yields significantly more leaf than dwarf and tree type of plantation. Look at the screen. Fig. 1.8, a view of dwarf plant. Fig. 1.9, a view of tree type of mulberry plant. By now, you know the types of plantation and also know that in South India, mostly bush type of plantation is being practiced. Therefore, it is easy to understand that you shall be concentrating on bush type of plantation. You may know in the first instance that mulberry is being cultivated both under irrigated and rain-fed conditions. Let us make it clear that under irrigated conditions, supplementary irrigation is provided when there is insufficient rainfall. Under rain-fed condition, it is entirely dependent on rainfall. You may know that two systems, namely pit system and row system of plantation, are being followed in South India. Under irrigated conditions, mulberry is planted either in pit system with wider spacing or in row system in very close spacing. Under rain-fed condition, only pit system of plantation is followed. A. Pit, trench system, in pit system, under irrigated conditions. Pits of 30 by 30 by 30 cm size or trenches of 25 to 30 cm depth are prepared along the rows. After the pits, trenches are dug, Saplings of mulberry are planted at a distance of 90 centimeters from each other. In this system of plantation, it is possible to accommodate a total of 12,345 plants per hectare of land. Nowadays, planting mulberry in paired rows following 150 centimeters 90 centimeters by 60 centimeters spacing is becoming more popular as it facilitates adoption of mechanization for intercultivation operations by using tractor, power tiller. You may find it interesting to know that it accommodates more number of plants than 90 by 90 centimeters spacing. In this system, it is possible to accommodate 13,888 plants per hectare of land. Fig. 1.10 and Fig. 1.11 give a sketch of how saplings are planted in paired row system and a view of garden raised in paired row system. Under rain-fed conditions, mulberry is planted in pits of 35 by 35 by 35 centimeters size at spacing of 90 by 90 centimeters. Before planting, the pits are filled with FYM or well-decomposed compost and sand in a ratio of 2:1. While planting, some precautions are required to be taken. Saplings should be planted in upright position. Possibly you can yourself imagine that keeping the plants in upright position will help the establishment of plantation vertically straight and in proper manner. Once the saplings are planted, the trenches, pits are filled with soil to cover the root system properly. You may also note that pressing of the soil firmly around the sapling will help in proper establishment of the plant. While preparing the trenches, it is simple to keep top and bottom soil separate at the time of digging out trenches. While planting, topsoil can be placed near the root zone. Topsoil is rich in nutrients, and placing it near the root zone will help the better growth of the plant. This technique is simple to execute while planting. For proper survival of the plant, irrigation should be given immediately. Subsequently, irrigation can be given as and when required. You may be aware that planting during rainy season can be helpful. B. Row system. This is an age-old practice of mulberry plantation in South India. Under irrigated condition. In this system of plantation, the plowed land is thrown into ridges, rows, and furrows alternatively at a distance of around 60 cm apart from each other, and cuttings are planted at a distance of around 20 cm at the edge of the ridge. It may now look simple since all other procedures of planting for establishment are same as followed in pit, trench methods. The row system accommodates 83,000 plants per hectare. You have already learnt the fact that sufficient sunlight and space are required for the proper growth of the plants. Hence, it is easier to interpret that wider spacing in between the plants is beneficial. 1.6 Methods of propagation and preparation of nursery. You have spent time in knowing about the planting systems. Now, let us understand that propagation of any plant is necessary to raise a new plantation. So is with mulberry. Mulberry is propagated by asexual methods. Among the asexual methods, vegetative propagation is easy and mostly used in South India. Let us now learn the various procedures for vegetative propagation through stem cuttings, grafting and layering. 1.6.1 Stem cutting. You have already learned that the ideal mulberry variety is the one which has high rooting ability. Therefore, it is easier to multiply these varieties through stem cuttings. The process starts with harvesting of shoots from a mature mulberry garden. Precautions are taken to keep the garden free from disease and pests. You must keep in mind that stem cuttings should be selected from at least 6 months old shoots. Cuttings of 15 to 18 centimeters length and 10 to 15 millimeters diameter with 3 to 4 healthy buds are prepared using sharp billhook or secateurs without any damage to the bark. If you look at Fig. 1.13, you can easily see how a sharp and slanting cut has been given at the base of the cutting. While preparing the cuttings, upper immature and lower thick portion of the shoots are rejected. Fig. 1.13 also gives a picture of an ideal cutting. In Block 1, Unit 4, you are going to study about the cutting machine developed at CSR disease. Then, the cuttings are planted immediately. You must also keep yourselves informed that suitable temperature can help in multiplication. Hence, temperature of 20 to 25 degrees Celsius is considered ideal for cutting propagation. Soil temperature is also important. High humidity can be an added advantage in the process of multiplication. Perhaps, it is simple to understand that high humidity will help in avoiding dryage of cuttings in nursery. Now, you shall try to learn how the cuttings are planted in the nursery beds in a slanting position exposing only one bud above the soil. You must also know the space that is to be maintained while planting cuttings. The distance between rows should be 20 centimeters and between cuttings 10 centimeters. Soil should be pressed around the cuttings firmly to ensure contact of cuttings with the soil to develop roots. Fig. 1.14 shows how the cuttings can be planted at a spacing of 10/20ths of a centimeter. During the process of development of roots, the cutting should not be disturbed. Weeds also hamper the growth of cuttings. So, weeds can be removed 45 days after planting cuttings with the help of a sharp weeding sickle without disturbing the cuttings. After 1 month of planting, urea at the rate of 10 grams per square meter is applied to the nursery and irrigated immediately. Subsequently, the irrigation is done once in every 4 days to get uniform sized saplings with good vigor. The saplings are transplanted after 4 months. Fig. 1.15 shows how uniform saplings can be obtained by following the above practices as against non-uniform saplings produced when above practices are not used. Look at the screen. Fig. 1.14, Plantation of cuttings in nursery. Fig. 1.15, a comparative view of uniform. It is practiced with mulberry varieties, which cannot be propagated through stem cuttings. The procedure is usually adopted with temperate mulberry varieties. The procedure involves inserting a small branch of a plant into a rooted plant. Fig. 1.16. The branch that is inserted is called as scion, and that into which the scion is inserted is known as stalk. It is important to choose the right variety of mulberry as scion. The stalks can be raised by sowing the seeds uniformly in a nursery bed. The seeds should be covered with soil to avoid drying. The seeds are sown in, allowed to grow with 3 centimeters distance in between. This can be done by thinning the seedlings. Besides this, water is sprinkled to help in germination. The seedlings are used for grafting. However, it can be indicated here that root grafting is expensive but unavoidable in mulberry propagation, where response for multiplication through stem cuttings is poor. B. Bud grafting. Bud grafting involves removal of only one bud and bark and grafting it on the other plant. Following types of bud grafting can be used. I. Patch budding. A portion of the bark with an active bud is removed from the stem as scion, and correspondingly a portion of the bark along with bud is removed from another stem, stalk, to which bud grafting is to be made. To this required portion of stalk, a bud of the scion is inserted and properly tied using polythene tape. T budding. A T-shaped insertion is made on the barks of the stalk at the nodal region, and a slit is formed by opening the cut ends. A T-shaped bud from the selected plant as scion is inserted in this stalk, slit and properly bandaged. C. Shoot grafting. It is followed to renovate the old plants. I. Wedge grafting. This is similar to root grafting except that in this case V-cut is given on a shoot, stalk. Prior to this, the plant is pruned at a required height and the scion is inserted later. E. Crown grafting. This is similar to the above, except that more than one scion is inserted into the stalk. 1.6.3 Layering. If the layering is done with the shoots, it is known as air layering. In this case, roots are allowed to develop at the nodes of the stem while it is attached to the parent plant. There are two types of layering, viz. Air layering and trench or ground layering. I. Air layering. In this method, the bark and some portion of wood is removed from all around a shoot. Besides this, mosses, a kind of a small plant, are wrapped around the shoot at the point of cut. Subsequently, a polythene sheet is wrapped around the shoot. The two cut ends of the polythene are closed with a tag. It is to be kept in mind that shoots on which layering have been done should not be disturbed for 4 to 6 weeks. The rooted shoots are then removed from the parent plant and planted in nursery beds. Fig. 1.17 gives a view of air Layering, and after seeing the figure it may be easy to do layering. Ground or trench layering. In this method, the branches of a plant are placed horizontally in the base of the trench and covered along with its entire length filled with manure and soil. New shoots which develop from the buds, along with the stem, grow upwards through the soil. The shoots along with the roots are then planted as new plants. Look at the screen. Fig. 1.17, air layering. Fig. 1.18, trench or ground layering. A comparison of this method with propagation through stem cutting shows that this method is expensive and cumbersome. However, this method has been identified for those varieties which don't respond to rooting through stem cutting. A close look at the above methods shows that in practice, propagation through stem cuttings or saplings is a popular method and extensively used in South India. 1.6.4 Preparation of nursery. Let us now learn how to prepare a nursery. Nursery is a piece of well-plowed and manured land where mulberry cuttings are planted in a proper space to get well developed young rooted plants called saplings. It is made with an intention of establishing mulberry plantation by using saplings to get a uniform plantation with less mortality. Since direct plantation of mulberry with the cuttings have a high rate of mortality, especially in a place with lack of irrigation facility, the use of mulberry saplings is encouraged. Hence, raising a nursery before taking up a plantation has a very significant meaning. To raise a nursery, it is highly essential to prepare the land with a lot of care. The land must be plowed deep, greater than 30 centimeters, with tractor-drawn mold board plow 2 times. Depending upon the soil texture, farmyard manure should be applied at the rate of 10 mt/acre and mixed well with the soil by plowing. In case of black soil, application of sand at 10-20 mt/acre is essential. Raised beds of convenient size, preferably of 3 meters by 1 meter by 10 centimeters breadth, length, and height, respectively, with irrigation channel all round the bed is more suitable. The beds should be made free from weeds by digging. In 1 acre of land, 1065 nursery beds of 3 meters by 1 meter can be prepared. As soon as the nursery beds are made ready, the cuttings prepared should be planted in the nursery beds. To prevent fungal diseases and pest infestation, 0.1% Bavishtin and 0.1% DDVP spraying after 30 to 40 days of planting is suggested. Appropriate measures must be taken to control any incidence of diseases and pests. After 4 months of planting, the saplings will attain about 90 to 100 centimeters height and will be ready for transplantation. Saplings should be uprooted carefully without damaging the roots. For easy uprooting of saplings, the beds should be irrigated 2 days before uprooting. The saplings should be planted as quickly as possible to get high rate of survival. If the saplings are not planted in the main field immediately after uprooting due to some unavoidable reasons, then saplings should be preserved by covering with wet gunny cloth. Transportation of saplings for longer distance should be avoided or preferably done during cooler hours. Before taking up the plantation, the saplings should be checked for root-borne diseases and root rot, and the infected saplings, if any, should be discarded by burning. By following standard nursery technique as described above, it is possible to plant about 1.60 lakh cuttings in 1 acre and about 1.28 lakh good saplings at 80% survival can be obtained. Production of each sapling will cost about 48 paise. Thus, a net profit of approximately Rs. 34,250 acre may be obtained. 1.7 Summary. Mulberry is cultivated for its leaf, which is the feed for silkworm. Mulberry is a hardy, perennial, deep-rooted plant and can be grown in all climatic zones i.e., tropical, subtropical and temperate. Mulberry grows luxuriously in ideal conditions like altitude of around 700 meters above mean sea level, temperature range of 20 to 30 degrees Celsius, and even distribution of about 1000 to 1500 millimeters rainfall with sunshine ranging from 9 to 13 hours per day. As mulberry is a perennial crop, initial establishment of mulberry garden plays a major role in maintaining high yield level for many years to come. In South India, mulberry is cultivated mostly as bush under irrigated and Rain-fed conditions and leaf yield can be obtained throughout the year. There are two systems of plantation, namely pit system with wider spacing or row system in close spacing. The choice of mulberry varieties has an immense role in boosting the leaf production. A number of high-yielding varieties are available suitable to different conditions. Quality of leaf has an important role to play in the success of sericulture, and therefore, it should be clear that quality of leaf can be produced only by strictly adhering to the recommended methods of mulberry cultivation. In South India, stem cuttings are used for establishing a mulberry garden either by planting cuttings directly in the field or by raising the saplings. Though mulberry can also be multiplied by grafting and layering techniques, you may note that multiplication through stem cuttings is easy and less expensive. Thank you for listening. We will be back with the next chapter.